Okay, sitting here in the car and getting ready for a D&D game, but started thinking about artillery. And the reason is because I was thinking about Jesse Keene. Jesse Keene is a individual that I enlisted as a recruiter and as an officer, and thought he was going to go infantry. He was going to go infantry, but ended up branching artillery, and he felt kind of bad about it when he was telling me, because I was infantry and we had all talked about that. But artillery is amazing. You talk about the most casualty producing weapon on the battlefield when it came to Afghanistan. It was the artillery. The thing is, first of all, you need somebody on the ground to call in that fire mission, but you also need a artillery section that can actually hit the broadside of a barn. My first deployment in 04-05, we had a unit that was supposed to be registering their guns. I'm doing the observation because we had an FO who seemed like a great guy, not a great FO. So I was calling in the fire mission, and shot over, shot out, splash over, splash out. Well, splash over, round unobserved. Scary. Then had another fire for registering the guns. Shot over, shot out, splash over. Holy crap, were they far off. I go down and I look at the guns. I walk walk down a little ways off of the OP, look down, and the guns are faced the wrong direction. I say, FTC, go outside and take a look at your guns. And I see this little tiny dot down there, this little lieutenant, walk out and look at his guns, and I just see, blah, 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 and they decided to stop firing for the day. Frightening. But they were really good at doing tower guard duty and also running the entry control point. When the new artillery unit came in to replace them, the platoon leader came up to me and said, and the platoon sergeant came up to me and said, "We're not going to be doing tower guard anymore. You're going to have, your job is going to be, it's the infantry's job to run the missions, do the tower guard, run the entry control point, be up there on the OPs." It was already short-staffed, and now they had just taken yet another piece of staffing from me with this artillery unit that said that they're not going to do that. I was pissed. I'm like, what else are you going to do? We're going to be running drills. I'm like, oh God, I better see you out there drilling every day. And they were. They had this spicy Sergeant First Class that was just out there in their ass all the time, having them run dry rehearsals and doing test fires constantly. And this quiet little lieutenant who would come up and whisper something into that platoon sergeant's ear, and suddenly it would just be being drilled over and over and over again. And also, while we're running missions, that platoon leader came to me and said, "Hey, I want to make sure that we're supporting you as best we can. Let's go ahead and do a map recon of the mission that you've got coming up. We're going to establish pre-planned fires all along the route based on what you think, based on what you've seen out there, are likely firing positions of ambushes and positions where you might need smoke screen cover, all that kind of stuff, and establish that all along the ridgeline that we would be moving up." If you've been through Afghanistan, it's just nothing but a choke point. So you're just constantly in a valley, especially in RC East, and we are just so establish points. And while we were on the mission, the guns would be turned as we hit each checkpoint, ready to go if that fire mission was called in, which was amazing. There was one night where we're up on the OPs. We are just having a great time with the Afghans. Just singing some songs, having some chai, sun's going down, and suddenly the worst sound that you can possibly hear at that moment is thump in the distance. It's like, what? Oh no. And then like 45 seconds later, I mean, the hang time of a mortar round can be a long time. 45 seconds as the round impacts. Go running out of the tent, start looking around. It's now getting dark. Throw on nods, trying to find where the firing position is. Thump, it goes off again. Now, if you've ever been walking back to your seat at a live baseball game, and you're going through the stadium, and then suddenly you hear the crack of the bat as you're trying to maneuver through with 2 hot dogs and 4 beers, and you can tell all around you that there's been a foul ball that's been hit and it's coming in. You don't want to look up, because you know that it's going to not hurt as bad if it hits you on the top of the head as opposed to in the face. So don't look up looking for that foul ball that's been hit. But when you see the crowd get up around you and you know that the ball could be coming right at you, you just brace yourself and wait for it to not hit you. And that is what it is like waiting for the shot of a mortar round to where it's going to impact. You just have this feeling of, please land on me. If you land too close, I'm just going to be wounded and it's going to be horrible. Or far away, or land directly on top of me, so that way you put me out of my misery. But it doesn't. These rounds are walking toward our base. Once they get to that base, they'll be able to just start dropping rounds and have it dialed in. So each time these rounds went off, thump, splash, they're getting closer and closer to our base. So we are trying to figure out where these guns are firing, where this mortar system is firing from. The problem is that it's firing from about 4,000 meters away. Speed of sound is 300 meters per second. So every time we hear that thump, the flash was like 15 seconds ago, which is a really long time when you're trying to not have people die. It felt like forever. And trying to figure out where that flash was at. Finally, figured out. It's up on top of this ridge line. Essentially use the ridge line as one of the vectors and shoot an azimuth to that, because if you always make sure if you can try to get the little compass attachment for your nods, really helps out in this situation. So do a intersection and call up an immediate suppression mission. Hey, we need fire at Victor Golf 497-849 blah blah blah. Like, I had just gotten done calling in the fire mission, and I hear shot over, and I'm like, what? Boom, there's already the first shot going out, like, on the ball. And I'm like, oh, well, this is different. This is not how fire missions win with freaking frac unit. This is awesome. And boom, first round, good to go. Message to observer, blah, blah, blah. But, okay, they only had 2 guns. We're going to have 4 rounds in the fire for effect. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Shooting high-low trajectory. Shoot up in the air, and then timing it so that when those rounds are about to hit, they are also firing a low trajectory shot, so that with 2 guns, 4 rounds all hit at the same time. Boom, 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 boom. And we are just rocking. Happened so fast. I was so happy. And this is what is important, Lieutenant Keene. You make sure that those guys are drilling their ass off, and you make sure that you still work with those infantry individuals, those people going outside the wire, those individuals that are going to need your support, and think the way that they do. Chances are, though, not all infantry is built the same. So you might have to do some thinking for them. But being able to have that support, because there is nothing better than the sound of artillery going off when it's not coming in at you and when it's outgoing. And so that's my fun story of the day. And I love you, Keen. You probably don't know him, but he's a total smoke show. So it makes sense that he's going to be a field artillery guy. He is married, allegedly, has a kid, allegedly, cute little baby. But yeah, I love you. And don't worry. If you're going to go something other than infantry, at least you didn't go Cav.